Drink Cinema! Cheers. Welcome to another episode of Two Drink Cinema. We are two brothers reviewing movies 2 drinks at a time. Hello, Brett. How are you?
I'm good, Lee. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm wearing a Back to the Future t-shirt for no reason. You are wearing
I am wearing a Forrest Gump t-shirt because it's got Tom Hanks in it.
and Tom Hanks is the star and Oscar winner of the movie Philadelphia.
Yes.
You said trivia at the end that it inspired the movie In and Out.
It did.
I did not know that.
There you go.
Tell me more, tell me more.
Because in his Oscar speech,
Yes.
when he won for Philadelphia,
Okay,
he
spoiler
was like,
alert.
thanks to these gays in my life, one of which was like his teacher.
Yeah.
And so then that inspired someone to write the movie In and Out. Because then in the movie, like the past student, he wins an award. And
Kevin
then like
Kline.
out's Kevin Kline.
Oh,
Yeah.
right, yeah, I flipped it. I thought Kevin Kline won the award, but no.
He's
Yeah.
with Joan Cusack.
Oh,
And someone is like,
it's a shame.
he's gay.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's not with Joan Cusack in real life. In
No.
the movie, he's with Joan Cusack.
Yes, he is.
I do want to watch In and Out, but Joan Cusack. Oh.
Gonna have to do it.
Okay.
We're not doing School of Rock because of Joan Cusack.
I do want to watch School of Rock again, though, but I
Anyway.
won't for the podcast. But we're doing Philadelphia, which
We
is
are.
far less funny than In and Out or School of Rock.
Well, I don't know. I haven't seen In and Out for a while, but it's probably funnier than this. Most movies are.
Yeah, I was a bit torn, and I messaged you about this one because the Archie Q De Niro scale has a few funny things on the scale.
Yeah.
So I thought we should do it on the Pride scale from Rainbow Popcorn because that's a little bit seriouser.
Yeah.
But
Consistency.
yeah, so I've kind of written notes in both,
Okay.
but I'll fit into the Archie Q De Niro scale. The first of which is A for alcoholic, and the first part of that is to come up with a cocktail.
Yeah, so this is another Two Drink Cinema original that
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not confident in.
All right, talk
One,
us through it.
Because it looks like piss.
Yep.
Gin,
Okay,
liquor 43,
just because we had it and wanted to get rid of it.
sugar syrup,
That's okay, sweet.
and then you top it off with some champers.
Oh, because Tom Hanks has
is
invented the cocaine.
the cocaine cocktail, which is Diet Coke and champagne. I thought could put Diet Coke in there as well. But then I'm like, no, that sounds even worse.
But also, we're recording this late in the evening. It's actually already past my bedtime.
Yeah.
So me having Coca-Cola, even diet at this time, would be not good for my sleep.
Yeah.
So this is called an Andrew Beckett.
That's what I've made up. Sure.
Okay. The quantities will be on our socials at Two Drink Cinema, or they'll come up on the screen now if you're watching on YouTube. Let's have a taste. Cheers.
Cheers. Ooh.
I don't mind it. Oh,
Ooh.
there's a little bit of after of the Liquor 43.
Yeah, nutty.
The Liquor 43 comes in late. Yeah.
Let me take another sip.
Yeah.
I also think it would be better with better champagne.
Yeah, it's not like that time we made The Godfather and we went and bought one at the Astor Theatre and they were using it, and then we used Johnny Walker Red and wondered why it tastes like shit. I'm going to give that a 3
Yeah, I was going to say that.
because it's not bad.
Because I found a cocktail called a Brotherly Love.
Oh, yeah.
So then I've kind of merged that with the champagne of a Tom Hanks cocktail
Cocaine.
to make it a bit of this. There you go.
Yeah, I reckon that's okay.
It's all right.
It's a big serve too.
It's good.
Cheers.
You need the drink to get through this movie. Oh, gosh.
How alcoholic is the movie?
Oh, you know, Denzel goes to a bar at one point. They have a few drinks while people make homophobic comments.
He does shots because it's a stressful trial for him.
Yep.
And there's drinks at the dress-up party.
Yeah.
Is it a Halloween party or is it just a dress-up party?
No, I think it's just like he's going to die. Let's have a party.
Yeah, and are Antonio Banderas and Tom Hanks, have they come as
Both have come from
Maverick and Goose?
No, they've both come as Richard Gere from an officer and a
okay.
gentleman.
Right, they've both come as the gentleman.
I
Or
haven't
is he
seen
the
it.
officer?
Yeah, one was meant to come as the woman that he carries off at the end, but they got confused.
Mum will know whether Richard Gere is. And I assumed
I
they
think
came.
he's both an officer and a gentleman.
I thought they came as Maverick and Goose to kind of highlight the homoeroticism of Top Gun.
Well, then the other thing of this movie, because when this movie came out and they were showing it in the White House, it was not long after Bill Clinton introduced Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
Oh,
And that scene came up where they're wearing military uniform.
yeah, yeah.
And Bill Clinton was left while
Oh,
they were
dear.
watching it. So it became a bit of a political statement. There you go.
They left it in for that.
Also, you don't need to, for the people that write about it in Wikipedia, you don't need to just write DADT instead of Don't Ask, Don't Tell. That's just a bit of feedback. Just write Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
Yeah, because not everyone knows what it is.
Yeah.
Because you're not reading an article about the military.
No.
You're reading an article about the movie Philadelphia.
Yep. Anywho.
How alcoholic is the movie? I think it's only probably 1.5 for
about
me.
1.5, because nobody gets like drunk.
I think Tom Hanks gets drunk at the party. And then he does his opera business.
bit. Oh, God.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that scene.
It's a little bit self-indulgent on the part of the director.
Jonathan Demme.
Yeah, went on a bit, that one.
It did.
It insisted upon itself, that scene.
It was almost like his performance is good. How do we
Should
get
we
him
just-
an Oscar?
should we just give him a
Let's do
moment?
this. Let's do this. That'll tip it over the edge.
Yeah.
Sorry, Liam Neeson. You're not winning this year.
Oh, yeah, Taken. Wasn't a great movie. It wasn't Taken.
Schindler's List.
I know it wasn't Taken.
Oh.
All right? It was Star Wars Episode 1.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks is very young in this movie too, by the way. He is, because it's
30 years ago.
30 years ago.
Yeah.
Representation is the R of Archie. Denzel is black.
Denzel is black. Antonio Banderas is Hispanic.
So representation is the R of the Archie Q De Niro scale. Denzel is black.
Denzel is black. Antonio Banderas is Hispanic.
Yes. And
they're in
Tom
roles.
Hanks is a gay character.
Yeah, there's a few gays in this. And they're in roles like that don't. I don't know how to say this.
They don't make a point of their nationality.
It doesn't have to be a black guy.
No.
So it's good that it was originally written as like an Italian guy
Oh, okay. Yeah.
for a comedic actor like Bill Murray or Robin Williams.
Who neither of them are Italian.
Yeah.
Can you imagine Armand in this movie? Robin Williams playing a gay...
Yeah, right.
No.
No, the lawyer.
Oh, Tom Hanks.
No. He
Denzel
was
Washington.
Denzel Washington.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought you meant Antonio Banderas' character was meant to be Bill Murray or Robin Williams.
No, it was going to be John Leguizamo. But John Leguizamo turned it down.
To do Super Mario Brothers?
Yep.
No, he didn't.
He did. He
Oh
turned
my
it down to do
God.
that.
They're going to make a Gwyneth Paltrow sliding doors movie out of that because that is a fucking terrible decision. Yeah, no,
I don't know.
I don't want to play. I don't want to play Tom Hanks's boyfriend. I think I'm going to do
I'll
a
play Luigi.
movie that's made out of a Nintendo game.
Yeah, I think is he Luigi? He's Luigi. He's not even Mario.
Yeah,
Yeah.
isn't Bob,
Bob
Hoskins
Hoskins?
Mario?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, John. Lego, no
Yeah.
good.
Lego my ego. I don't know. That means nothing. Yeah, so it's good having people of colour in roles that...
The point isn't.
Yeah.
I did think that there was going to be a little bit of... You can understand the persecution of the gays because you're black, but there wasn't. Because that would have been easy to put in.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks' friend group at the party is quite diverse.
Quite diverse.
As well as being gender diverse and sexuality diverse, they're racially diverse as well, which is good.
Diverse jury.
Surprisingly diverse jury. I did not expect the jury to have that many women or people of colour in it.
What I will comment on, which is good, I don't know. I wrote this as good everyday diversity.
Yep.
As in, like hospital waiting room.
Oh, yeah, okay.
In the bar.
Yep.
Just like...
Extras.
Yeah.
Extra
like,
win.
In a real life thing, you would see diverse group of people in the waiting room.
Correct. This is...
Even if they are looking at him like, ooh, you got the AIDS. Ooh.
Yeah. So, yes, I think they did do that very well. In looking up our Google reviews, there was a little bit of, what's his name, the director?
Jonathan Demme.
Oh, he's so woke, which he wasn't in 1993 because woke wasn't a thing. But
apparently part of the reason he did this was because he did Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, and there was the trans issue.
He came off a bit homophobic. So he did this as a response almost. But I don't think that's why you make this movie. It's not like some sort of proving a point.
No.
And then to do it fairly well.
Quite well. Except for the slow zoom.
He does love a slow zoom in on looking directly into the camera.
He loves
see Jodie Foster doing that.
He loves a straight into camera and he loves a slow zoom. Some too slow for mine.
Yeah.
And occasionally there are a couple of moments where the movie was like, have you taken this from the music? I'm like, have you taken this from Silence of the Lambs? Do you realise you're making a drama, not a thriller now?
Yeah, it was a bit strange.
There were a couple of odd music choices, but generally a well-made movie. And the representation of the extras and the diversity of the cast is very good. The representation as well of the reactions to the AIDS patient, I think from what I know, and obviously I wasn't around like that in 1993, they seem authentic based on what I know.
Yeah, I don't know how the timeline works very well of the understanding fully of how AIDS is contracted.
Yep.
But I almost feel by then people would know it was through bodily fluids. So would people be scared in general of just shaking Tom Hanks's hand?
I feel like yes.
Because there's still that big level of ignorance because...
Well, there's still now people that don't understand. Like, and HIV's come a long way. There's like people now that are positive but untransmittable.
Yeah.
But people don't understand that that's a thing.
Yes.
So I do think that someone like Denzel Washington's character, even though he's a lawyer, he's not the smartest.
Yeah.
And so
and I think
he would move to the other side of the room.
Yeah.
Because he also hates gays.
Yeah.
Denzel's character.
Yeah.
And so there would be people in the hospital waiting room that are like, oh, I don't want to go on the payphone now that he has.
And I think it's the ignorance thing. But it's also because they don't need to know because it doesn't affect it. Because it was, I don't want to say marketed as a gay disease.
It was propaganded. Yeah, which is also not a word, but it's better than marketed.
It's not a word. Marketed.
Yeah.
Displayed. Sold. That's where it...
Propaganded.
Yes, anyway.
It was propaganded as a gay epidemic.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think those reactions, from what I know of the 80s into early 90s, were fairly authentic. Denzel watches everything he touches. The woman in the... one thing I noticed is that when he gets on the witness stand, he swears on the Bible. The bailiff goes and changes the Bible.
Yes.
Which is subtle and done well. And then you see later when the...
But then it's... Because it's not made... It's not like zoomed in on.
No.
It's just like...
But you see him leave and come back.
Yeah.
But then when the boss lawyer is on the stand, you see him swear on the Bible and then goes, puts it on the table again.
Yeah.
Same Bible, no issues. Little things like that are good. Subtlety, he's done well. So in terms of representation...
I'm almost. I'm four.
I think it's a 4.
Yeah, 4.
Yeah, I think it's a 4. Because even though the language
Is
not good,
Yeah.
it's accurate.
Yeah.
Which, if you base it on a lot of old things that are cancelled, Philadelphia should be cancelled.
For the language.
Yeah. This movie uses that word
A lot.
It shouldn't.
In
it
a
should be
courtroom.
cancelled.
I don't know if there's a button on the stenographer for that word.
F word.
Yeah. But
yeah.
she was just ticking along when Denzel was going off his head.
That was a good little outburst,
Mary Steenburgen was doing her best.
It was so hard to see her be an absolute arsehole.
She was good.
She was good.
You could tell she did not want to do that. Because did you know they had to delay her starting in the filming? Because a few days before she started filming.
She fell off a horse in Eastwood Ravine? No, sorry. It's about that time.
She lost... one of her friends died of AIDS.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Well, then she did extra well.
And then there's a thing in the thing where she goes back to the thing and was like, I hate this case. Improvised.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Because she was like, I don't want to do this.
She's like, this is
and the
fucking
director
hard.
was just like, just say it then.
Yeah.
And the thing. Because I think it was a good depiction of
good lawyer.
Denzel and Mary Steenburgen, I don't even know her character's name, are doing their job despite their beliefs.
Yes. And you see a bit of that at the end. They congratulate each other. And you see that a lot in courtroom dramas. The lawyers always congratulate each other no matter what. Because they know
the appeal.
They know they're doing their job. And Mary Steenburgen knows her job now is to appeal it.
Yeah.
Which is shit. You know something, a similar story? One of my favourite songs is Queen's Somebody to Love.
Yeah.
Right? And another one of my favourite singers is George Michael. At the concert for Freddie Mercury, George Michael sings Somebody to Love to end the concert.
Oh, gosh.
And he nails it.
Tears.
Nails it.
5 on the cry scale?
Yep. Nails it. I found out recently that his partner at the time, a couple of weeks before the concert, had been diagnosed HIV positive.
God.
So he's gone out there to sing for Freddie Mercury, who he would have known and been inspired by, to sing a Freddie died of AIDS concert after his partner has just been diagnosed.
He didn't sing that
and
Who Wants to Live Forever song.
And he nails it. Well done, George.
I can't
Valet.
wait for Theo James to do that.
Oh, God.
Nah,
Vomit.
not going to happen. It'll be James Corden. Moving on. Representation, we've got a 4.
Yes. Cry.
Alrighty.
Okay, so my cry notes are in 2 places. All right, because there's so many of them.
When he's in
You talk about yours
when
first.
he's in the courtroom and he has to show his lesions,
Yep.
moistening.
Yes.
Definite moistening.
Yep.
And when he's in the hospital and the family are like, I'll see you tomorrow. And you're like, oh, he's about to die.
Oh, yeah. I cried when they won, even though I knew they were going to win.
Yeah.
I cried. I don't think I moistened. I moistened earlier. There was a tear when they won.
Okay.
There was more than one tear when the family are saying goodbye in the hospital, particularly when the brother cries and hugs him.
Because it does look like he could be related to Tom Hanks. That's good casting.
Yeah, and it does look like Tom Hanks is about to die.
Yeah.
And then at the funeral. Or the service or whatever.
And one of the partners is there from the law firm.
Was he?
The one that was
The
like,
good one?
I knew he was sick.
Yeah, the good one.
Yeah. I was like, oh.
They had to put a good one in.
Yeah.
So...
And all the diverse friends are talking to the thing. And then...
And talking to the lawyer and...
His friend that is on Grey's Anatomy, she's watching the home movie.
Katherine Heigl.
Yeah.
It's not her, is it?
No, it's that Chandra Wilson. The one that was doing his makeup.
I'm surprised...
Very orange makeup.
I'm surprised the makeup didn't come up in court. Because that was a scene.
Yeah.
And it was like, you're a liar. And they called their friend, didn't you do his makeup? To try and hide the fact that he was sick.
Yeah.
But anyway, maybe it did and it was deleted. Left on the cutting room floor.
Maybe. So Cry...
3.
3.
Yep.
Oops, I typed the wrong number.
What did you type? 4?
A 4.
It was close.
I had tears in my eyes. I couldn't see. We're going well so far.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be
This is a weird
flubber.
one to talk about. Horniness.
Denzel Washington has a product of horniness
very
at the start
early
of
on.
the
He
movie,
has a product of horniness,
which is a child for the new listeners.
Yeah. You don't see horniness.
No, and the only time they talk about sex is...
Have you visited this?
Have you visited the porn cinema?
Gosh, and his mum's right there.
But also, like, I would have liked Denzel Washington to have asked all of the lawyers if they'd ever been...
To a straight one.
To strippers.
Yeah.
To a porn cinema. Have they watched porn? Have they had a one-night stand?
Did you fuck anyone in the Navy?
But he did ask that. I feel like that wasn't his tactic.
Well, I don't, to be honest, I'll save a bit overall legally what I thought of it.
As a lawyer.
Yeah, it was an interesting
there was a lot of pity tactics, which worked. I didn't expect the only guy that talked in the jury room to be on that side.
No, neither did I.
Which I think is good.
Because he's played an asshole in other movies, so I think that was it as well. But you could tell when that partner was talking about the Navy, and he was like, "Urgh." He was like, "Oh well, he's been in the army."
Yeah, I remember my time in the service.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service, sir. It's such an American thing. Anyway, horniness, I don't know. I think it's a 0.
I believe it is, yes.
Even though the thing is based on a sexually transmitted disease.
Well, I think it does well to not show sex.
To not be about sex. But I think that's
also a criticism.
I think it's good that that he has AIDS at the start of the movie.
Okay, that's it. Yeah.
No, sorry.
No, that he doesn't contract it during the movie.
I think it's a good creative choice on the part of the writer and director.
That he already has
the character already has AIDS at the start.
Yeah.
I haven't seen this before watching it for the podcast. And so I was like...
Really?
Because he looks healthy at the start. At the very start, he looks healthy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, is he going to get AIDS as he takes this case? Because even the movie description, but then I kind of doubted myself from the movie description because it's like 2 rival lawyers must team up to fight an AIDS discrimination case. And then that first scene is Tom Hanks and Denzel Washington being rivals.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, is Tom Hanks not the guy with AIDS? Are they about to take on a client with AIDS? Did Tom Hanks win an Oscar for defending a guy with AIDS and the guy that plays the guy with AIDS didn't get an Oscar for this movie? But then he already has the AIDS, which I think is good because it makes the point of the movie about how we as a society treat someone with that diagnosis rather than look how dirty he is for getting the diagnosis. We don't go into the promiscuous gay scene or that kind of prejudice.
Yes.
We go into all the other prejudices.
But I think it's also like a criticism that it could be more sexual.
But I think it's a social drama.
Yeah.
And so it's a comment on society.
Yeah.
More than anything else.
But it's good that, because if they put scenes like that in, then that's what the talk would have been about. Like in Brokeback Mountain. Or like Sex in a Tent.
Yes.
That's all we talked about.
Brokeback Mountain, there's 2 movies that I won't watch again because I know I will bawl my absolute eyes out.
Holding the Man. Have you watched that?
No.
I've never cried at anything so much in my life.
You've put it on the list, so I know I'm going to cry. For me, it's Brokeback Mountain.
Apes, yep.
The bashing at the end. Spoiler alert. It's 15-year-old movie. Bad luck.
Yeah.
And The Pursuit of Happiness.
The Pursuit of Happiness. I haven't seen it.
Little bloody Jaden Smith gets me every time. No, that Will Smith, just because as I'm on the record, Dad hates us. So the fact that Will Smith,
because it's a
loves
father
his
son thing. Yeah, right.
No, Dad doesn't hate us.
Oh.
That's a running joke for new listeners. And sorry, Dad, if this is the one episode you've decided to listen to. All right, we're done with horniness. We got that out of the way. Insults.
Okay, this is a thing, because usually we joke about insults.
No, yeah.
There are a lot of insults. I will not use any of them in my everyday language.
No, all of what Denzel Washington says to his wife in the kitchen about the gays, it's cringe.
Aunt Teresa is a lesbian?
Yeah.
And also, don't go to your newborn baby and say, stay away from your Aunt Teresa.
Yeah, yeah. Jeez. And she did well, the wife, to pull him up on that.
Yeah.
That's all cringe, and it's very hard to watch, but it's meant to be, but it's also accurate for the time.
Mm. I just realised I wrote a quote and I wrote it wrong. Can you see that? Go, what do you call a woman with PMS and ESP at the same time?
ESPN at the same time. Yeah, a bitch with all the stats.
Bitch who knows, yeah. A bitch who knows everything.
They make me sick. So I wrote all that stuff about Denzel, what he says in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Then I says, but he quickly feels shame about those things when he sees Tom Hanks in the library. But then he doesn't, because he then says after that, they make me sick in the bar.
But is he just putting on a front?
But then he turns it on in the courtroom.
Yeah.
To be, you all shouldn't be prejudiced.
Yes.
But then he has a go at that guy in the drugstore.
Yeah.
So I think that's good in showing the conflict of lawyer doing his job, but also the conflict of Denzel Washington as he's getting closer and getting to know Tom Hanks, getting to know an actual gay person a little bit better.
Part of me was like, I'm not sure if he's fully changing his mind. Obviously, he becomes more of a friend. But I still don't think he fully accepts gay people at the end.
I think he's doing that boomer thing that I know people that are okay with me and Shane, but not okay with the gays.
Yeah.
And so I think Denzel Washington's character is doing that.
Yes.
He's okay with Tom Hanks and he's okay with
Antonio Banderas.
He's okay with Antonio Banderas and he's okay with Tom Hanks, but he's not okay with the gays.
Yeah.
And I think as much as it was probably tempting to make his character okay with the gays, I think it's more realistic that this is just step one for Denzel Washington's character.
Yes.
But it also means that if at some point in the future a gay client comes to him, he'll be a little bit more open to it.
Yeah. But he does take on the case because of the money and the notoriety.
Yeah.
But also...
But lawyers do that, and he's like, not colloquially, he's literally an ambulance chaser.
Yes.
Like, it's
in
not
the
even,
elevator. He goes, is that one of your clients? Ha, ha, ha. Oh,
yeah,
do you need my card?
Here's my card.
Like, and then the guy is credited as crutches in the credits at the end.
So...
I'm pretty sure.
That's obvious, but I do think that's a step for Denzel Washington's character, and so I think it shows a bit of various levels of acceptance.
Yep.
In his family are 100% accepting.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Hanks. Denzel Washington's wife is 100% accepting. Denzel has taken the first step.
Yeah.
And the one good partner, probably will be about to be sacked after the movie ends.
Yeah.
Partner from that law firm is accepting of it. I think and even that guy at the head of the jury seems to be okay with it. But it is hard to hear the F word.
It is.
So many times in a movie.
Especially in a court of law.
Yeah. I'd be really interested, and we'll probably hear about it.
Because I don't know if... Because stenographers have cheat shortcuts.
Yeah.
Right? Pretty sure faggot isn't one of them.
No.
Also don't think pillow biter is one either.
No, probably
But
not.
I'm like, how is she keeping up with this?
They're
Maybe
good.
they loaded it on there just for this case. I don't know.
Yeah, they're like, this word's going to come up a lot. Like murder gets loaded on for the murder case.
Yeah.
Not for the constructive involuntary manslaughter cases.
Yes.
Sorry, Alec.
I
I
don't know how to score this.
one thing I do want, and there'll probably be an interview because it's the 30-year anniversary of this movie. I do want to hear how Denzel Washington feels about that speech now. Because
Tom Hanks has said, if you made it now, you couldn't have a straight actor playing that role. That's different to what you're talking about.
You couldn't. It is, but I'll go back on the other track that we were on.
Yeah, obviously, because it was different at the time.
Yeah, and I think that came up. I saw on my TikTok the other day a clip from 42, the Jackie Robinson movie.
Pull one out.
Yeah, Chadwick. I
was
watched
talking about Jackie Robinson.
Wakanda Forever. We poured one out for Chadwick then. They actually did. They tributed Chadwick Boseman very well in that movie.
Good.
But
Anyway.
there's a scene where Jackie Robinson has his first major league at bat, and the opposition manager is hurling abuse at him. N-word,
Yeah.
N-word.
Yeah.
And Alan Tudyk, who plays that
Oh.
character, does it well,
Yeah.
but apparently he struggled
Yeah.
with doing that because it was so against his values, and he took a serious break from acting after it. So I'll be interested to see in, I'm sure, interviews that come up. If Denzel Washington has something else to plug this year, I'm sure he'll be interviewed about Philadelphia. I'll be interested to hear what he has to say about how he felt delivering that speech.
I don't think anybody will ask him.
I'll ask him.
Cool.
I'll tweet him.
When he's on my future talk show, I'll ask him.
No, I'll tweet him.
Cool.
At Denzel Washington official. If he's bought the blue tick, I'll look out for it.
Bought the blue tick, yeah.
And I'll ask him.
Cool.
At Two Drink Cinema, just reviewed Philadelphia. How do you feel now about the number of F-bombs you dropped?
Yeah. Awkward.
But you're right, Tom Hanks couldn't play this character now.
No.
Just like we said, Theo James shouldn't play George Michael.
But it'll happen. Like, if they remade it, it'll be fucking Tom Holland. Jesus. I don't know why I said Tom Holland.
He'd be decent at it. I don't think it would be.
No.
But
It wouldn't get remade.
No. It is one of those ones you're like, oh, straight actor playing a gay role, but Tom Hanks is Tom Hanks.
And part of it was making
obviously
it mainstream and people were going to watch Tom Hanks and
Yeah.
Denzel Washington.
And we said the same thing about Hilary Swank in Boys Don't Cry. It makes it a little bit more into the mainstream.
yeah. This is not aging well.
I don't mind it.
I think
The
I just got
cocktail.
a big gin.
Oh, okay. For our listeners, if you pause to say Tom Hanks is really good for you, then saying this doesn't age well, Brett took a
I
sip
was
of
talking
the
about the
cocktail.
cocktail and it's gone a bit warm. Anyway, insults, I don't know how to score it.
Yeah, because we don't want to give
There's
it...
a lot.
There are a lot of insults, but we don't want to give it points for bad insults. 2.5.
I'm giving it a 3.
There's lots of insults, but they're bad. So I'm taking a point off because they're actually offensive.
They're not funny insults like
like
we
in the
just did in
Sandlot.
the Sandlot.
Like you throw like a girl is
No, but if,
bad
if,
insult,
If
but-
my dog looked like you, yada yada.
you bob for apples in the toilet and you like it.
Yeah, that's a funny insult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Enclosure is the E of Archie. It's
a small loft studio apartment with a spiral staircase.
yeah, which is a 2. Yeah, spiral staircase.
God,
You
don't
lived in a loft apartment. You didn't have a spiral staircase.
Yes, I did.
Did it spiral?
It had a spiral staircase. That's the one reason why I wanted to live
I went there twice, I think.
I was like, I've always wanted to live in it. This was the thing. I always wanted to live in the city. I always wanted to live in somewhere with a spiral staircase. I don't know why. Probably because of Adam's family. And then I was like, 2 in 1.
Don't you want to live in like a grand staircase so you can walk down like Scarlett O'Hara?
I've done that.
When I come in, I'll knock on the door and you can walk down, and then when you
And then
see it's
you
me
go,
and
boom,
I'm back
boom,
from
you
war.
go slow. That's how you walk downstairs.
Slow, and then you see it's
and then
me.
you try not to slip and miscarry.
And I'm back from the war, and then you fall over in gaspiration.
Consumption.
Oh.
Spiral staircase. Fucking love a spiral. Although once I did nearly fall down it. It was bad.
When I think spiral staircase, I think the library in Venice in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Isn't there? There's a movie and they have a spiral
it's that
staircase
blonde
and it
girl
turns
that's a
into
Nazi.
It turns into like a and they think it.
Yes, that's
is that Adam's
in an
family?
Indiana Jones. What?
Adam's family.
Yes,
maybe.
There's an
Casper
in an Indiana Jones movie.
Very off topic.
There's a spiral staircase in the library.
Yeah.
And Indy runs up it to see the big X on the library floor.
Yeah.
Right? And it's not Karen Allen. It's the blonde German woman in the Last Crusade. No, Kate Capshaw's in the second one.
Oh, okay.
This is referring to an episode that is on Buy Me a Coffee.
Yeah.
We had this discussion. Then in another... Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Yeah.
They're in a room.
Okay.
And Sean Connery leans on something on the wall and a spiral staircase falls down into the ground of concrete steps.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah.
I was thinking of a movie where they have a spiral staircase and then the stairs thing and it becomes a slide.
Yeah. Okay.
Which I'm thinking might be Adam's Family when they go down to the like treasure.
Or is it Hook?
I don't think it's Hook.
Okay.
It's metal.
Listeners, at Two Drink Cinema.
I'll Google it.
If you know
I
what
was
that
trying
is.
to Google it trivia the other night.
Movie
Scene where old man talks to large crowd. It looks ancient.
Life of Brian.
Nah, it was Mad Max Fury Road. I was like, I think it might be 300. It was Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh dear.
Didn't get that point.
So Tom Hanks lives in an apartment that is small, but Joe lives in a house, but it's not huge.
It's not a huge house.
Joe is Denzel Washington.
It did remind me of the house from Halloween.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I'm thinking a 2.
Can we do a 2.25?
Can we do a 2.25?
Because
okay.
Joe Denzel Washington lives in a house.
It's not a small apartment.
No, it's got a spiral staircase. It's got 2 levels.
I miss that apartment.
Quotability.
Dean, if you're listening, damn you.
This is the essence of discrimination. Formulating opinions about others not based on their individual merits, but rather on their membership in a group with assumed characteristics.
Ooh, good
That's
line.
prejudice.
That is a good line, Joe. We don't live in this courtroom, Your Honour.
That's also a good line.
That is a good line.
I'm not going to use any of these in daily life.
No. 1.
There's some very good dialogue. The way
but it's not quotable dialogue.
No, but the way that Tom Hanks and Denzel Washington characters speak in that exchange at the very start of the movie is very different.
Yep.
And that's maintained throughout the whole movie, and is very good at differentiating those two characters. So the dialogue's very good.
My thing was like, why doesn't he represent himself?
Because he's dying.
Yeah, that's true.
And he is, at one point he says, I'm not sure I'm going to make it to the end of this trial.
Yeah.
He gets hospitalised when he's not even asking the questions.
That's true.
So that's why he doesn't represent himself. Okay? That was an
What are
easy
you giving
answer.
it for a quotability? I'm giving it a 1.
I'm giving it a 1 also.
Okay.
All right. So the D for De Niro is drink.
Yeah, I didn't notice any
What I noticed
Coke or Pepsi.
is in Tom Hanks' old movies at the funeral, They go on a holiday.
Wow, that's yeah.
And the family pulls out a Coke branded esky.
Oh God.
So
There
it
you go.
is
It's a Coke movie.
Coke movie. It's
Coke
either
or
a Coke
Pepsi.
movie or if they're real home movies from Tom Hanks' life. Tom Hanks grew up with a Coke esky
And he drinks Diet Coke with his
champagne.
With his champagne.
It's a Coke movie, 2 points.
How do you discover that, Tom Hanks?
Well, when you're in isolation for COVID
Yeah,
in Australia,
in the early days of COVID.
yeah, when isolation was a real thing.
We were still living a normal life then.
No, we weren't. We were in lockdown.
Pretty sure I wasn't in lockdown. I can still imagine myself in the office and people are like, oh, Tom Hanks has got COVID.
Oh, yeah, true. You know it's about to come up on all of our Facebook memories. The start of lockdown.
Oh, God, I don't want to.
It's depressing. Well, a trend on TikTok is with the young people.
Yeah, well, you said TikTok.
Yeah, to be like, oh, we've got 2 weeks off school. And then a before and after.
Okay.
It's mainly on gym talk of fit people.
Oh, right.
So it's like, we got 2 weeks off school and it's them like a skinny 17-year-old and them now like a ripped 20-year-old.
Right.
Because 2 weeks off school is become 2 years.
Cool. Doesn't sound like a great trend.
No, well, it's really hard to explain TikTok videos in words.
Yeah. Harder than explaining a meme.
Yeah, definitely. But it's my new challenge. I've replaced memes with TikTok trends.
Okay, great.
If
We're
you've
up with the
listened-
young kids.
Yeah, if you've listened to the last
Memes
few.
are dead, people. Memes are dead.
At 2 Drink Cinema is our TikTok, if you want to tag us in any trends you think we should do.
Yeah.
My 2 weeks off school was we were running the pub kitchen at the start of lockdown. And our first lockdown in Melbourne was meant to go for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So we just put everything in the freezer
Yeah.
and walked out. We just locked up and walked out. We're like, we'll be back in 3 weeks. The bar manager just left all the beer in the cool room. Like, we'll be back in 3 weeks. The beer will still be good. The kegs in the basement, they'll still be fine. And then in September, the lease finished.
We ours was because we knew it was coming up when we could potentially have to everybody work from home. That on the Monday the
13th of
16th of March, we went into work. Tuesday, the 17th of March, everybody had to work from home to test that our systems could cope with it, and then we'll come back.
They couldn't.
So we're ready to go.
They couldn't work. They couldn't cope on the 17th, could they?
They coped. But we went to home for that one day to test, didn't go back.
Oh,
So people just like, take your laptop, take this with you, blah, blah, blah. And it was like, and they've just announced it, don't bother coming back. Come back if you need to grab stuff, see you whenever. But we also thought it would be like a month.
yeah.
But then I don't know, I think I went back, 6 months later?
I specifically remember it was in March, 3 weeks. We didn't have heaps of stock because we didn't open Monday, Tuesday. And then it was like Tuesday, we were going into lockdown. So Wednesday, Mum and I met the bar people in there. We put everything in the freezer and in the cool room. And they're like, oh, we'll see you in 3 weeks. The next time I saw them was in September when we moved out of the pub.
Had to move out. I remember because the Monday we thought was normal. So, and I meant to have netball that night. So I went into the office with all my netball gear.
Oh, yeah.
Then they were like, we're going to cancel netball this week. So then we still all had dinner like normal netball because you could still do that stuff. But I had to carry around all my netball gear and all my work stuff and just be like, what the hell am I doing? Anyway.
It's absolute madness.
Anywho,
but that's going to come
on.
up, everyone, in your Facebook memories
Get ready
very
for that.
soon.
You're going to have Facebook memories of what you thought about Dan Andrews.
Facebook memories PTSD. Where are we up to?
We did a 2 for drink because of Coke Eskies.
Because there was a Coke cooler.
Cooler.
We're now into endurance. Smoking in the office.
Smoking in the office has not endured.
It's not endured, particularly in COVID times.
The computers that Andrew Beckett uses in the office have not endured.
No.
Using a camera with film in it and getting your wife who has just had a baby to put the film in your camera.
Yes.
Has not endured, Denzel.
Walking around with a camcorder when you go home for Thanksgiving or whatever he went home for, Tom Hanks. That's not endured.
But the movie in general has held up very well in terms of that it's still a very relatable storyline, sadly.
Yeah, unfortunately, homophobia has endured.
Yeah, like those chants that people was doing outside the court. I'm like, people still use it's Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve.
Yeah.
Like, come on. You can tell they're straight. They'd be more imaginative if they were gay.
Oh, do you know I saw a meme?
Yay! Hey.
I saw a meme, and it was like a geneticist. And it was like, if the second person was made from the rib of Adam...
Yes.
Then you did half a science degree.
Sure.
Then their DNA or their chromosomes or whatever would be
the exact same.
Would be male.
Yes.
So it would be Adam and Steve.
Well, there you go.
There you go. Take that.
But also science and religion don't really add up.
Really. There's not a lot of science in the Bible, but next time...
There is. It's just wrong.
Next time someone says it's Adam and Steve, you can confuse them with science, bitch.
Yeah.
Says Aaron Paul. I coached...
Paul, isn't that the guy in Breaking Bad?
Yeah. He's the meme. Science, bitch.
Oh, I thought he was a geneticist.
No.
Oh, no, right.
He makes meth.
Yeah, well...
in a camper van.
He's... Okay.
He's a chemist. I was talking to... So, I coached my baseball on Friday night. It was freezing cold.
Yeah, well,
stupidly cold. The Friday before we recorded this. And so a couple of the girls had those little hand warmer heat packs.
Oh, yeah.
And one of them was shaking it in the air. And I'm like, don't do that because the cold air will take all of the heat.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, it makes it hotter. I'm like, no.
Friction.
That's not how it works.
Right.
And I was about to go to her, it's science, bitch.
But she's a small child.
But she's 9 years old. Yep. So I just said, that's not how it works. It's science. She goes, I do science at school every day.
Oh, what? She made a bloody
grade
volcano.
Grade 3 science is not how a heat pack works. Anyway, she came to me one inning later and was like, this is really cold now, Lee. I'm like, well, it's science, bitch.
Science, bitch.
Endurance. See, again, like insults, some things have endured, but the things that have endured are bad.
But it's still endured in terms of you could make this movie again exactly the same. Well, no. You could show it to a whole new audience of people and it would still hold up. It's still confronting. It's still, there's these issues in society of the stigma of people that are different. But there's also still a stigma about AIDS and HIV. So it's still relevant.
Like we were saying before, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm giving it a... You know what?
I'm giving it a 4.
I'm giving it a 5.
All right, well, then I'll give it a 4.5.
Actually, no, I'm going to give it a 4.
Okay, well, then I'll give it a 4. Fuck.
I'm taking half a point off because...
Smoking in the office.
Straight actors playing gay roles has... Well, it shouldn't endure. But anyway.
But it has endured. So
it has endured because... straights getting Oscar nominated for playing gays because it's brave. Ugh.
What was that movie we reviewed and the Google reviews were like, what the last movie, if someone can show me someone kissing this person from the same gender, then they'll give them an award?
Wasn't Whitney?
Didn't we read some Google reviews?
Was it Call Me By Your Name?
Call Me By Your Name, yeah. It was like, they are both... kissing someone of the same gender, and then I will give you 5 stars. What?
Yeah. So you're giving it a 4 for endurance.
I'm giving it slightly less than whatever you get.
Okay, 4. Okay? 4 or 4.5.
All right, nostalgia. Neither of us have written anything.
Look, because I don't have nostalgia for a movie about AIDS that came out when I was 5 years old. Okay?
No, that's fine. 0.
Tom Hanks' nostalgia isn't this movie. Tom Hanks' nostalgia is A League of Their Own.
A League of Their Own, correct. Tom Hanks' nostalgia for me...
Toy Story. Didn't even say Toy Story.
Catch Me If You Can.
But even when Toy Story came out, I was like...
You didn't know it was Tom Hanks?
I didn't know it was Tom Hanks. I knew it was Tom Hanks and the guy from Home Improvement.
Yeah.
Which, looking back, is sad. Because I was like, oh, he's Buzz. That's great. I don't like Woody. Now it's like, who?
Now like Woody is... Tom Hanks.
Nostalgia, I have to give it a 0.
Yeah, I have to give it a 0 too. Sorry, Tom.
Jeez.
Yeah, I don't have nostalgia for the bigotry of the early 90s somehow.
Nah.
Impact. I think this movie made Tom Hanks into the Tom Hanks we know.
Yes.
Because before that...
He went full serious.
Big... and more those kind of
Money
movies.
Pit.
The Money Pit. Seen The Burbs?
I've seen The Burbs. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
I
have it on a double DVD.
But this is like, oh fuck, Tom Hanks is the actor of our generation.
He's dramatic, and then he does this one, Forrest Gump.
And then he does Elvis.
And then he does Saving Private Ryan.
And then Elvis 30 years later and gets a two Razzie nominations.
Because Pinocchio. I think it is notable for being I'm quoting here, it is notable for being one of the first mainstream Hollywood films to explicitly address HIV, AIDS, and homophobia, in addition to being one of the first mainstream Hollywood films to portray gay people in a positive light.
Oh, other than the funny gay best friend.
Other than, the creep that gets murdered. Oh, God, Brett, why'd you say that? You know what I mean.
That's accurate, though.
Yeah. So I think in terms of that, it has a big impact.
Yes.
Of being mainstream. Like I said before, Tom Hanks' Oscar speech inspired
yes.
In and Out. So if that's good or bad impact, take it as you will.
I also think there's the impact of Denzel Washington. Because I'm not sure before this, Denzel Washington was big.
He was.
Was he?
He'd already won an Oscar.
For what?
Glory, it was called, and it's like a Civil War thing.
Okay.
And he'd already
Glory,
played
glory,
Malcolm
hallelujah.
X.
Before this?
Before this, I'm pretty sure. Like early 90s.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe the same time.
Well, lucky I didn't write that in my notes, so it's not on the record.
I think, it didn't really introduce us to anything, but I think it kind of, like you said, almost reintroduced us to Tom Hanks.
It did. It's when Tom Hanks went from funny little cute, quirky 80s comedy guy.
Like in the same year he does this, he does Sleepless in Seattle.
Yeah. But then he goes on to
do all the serious stuff.
To do all the serious stuff.
But still funny movies.
And Catch Me If You Can. That's a very good movie. I should watch that again.
We should do that. There is a Family Guy reference to Philadelphia, surprisingly.
Oh, good.
There's actually two. One is when Homer's in the thing. Homer, wow. Not that
Peter?
Not that they copied anything. Peter's at the movies with Lois, and they're watching Philadelphia. And he's like, oh, that's the guy from Big, Tom Hanks. Everything he says is hilarious. And then it cuts to the screen and goes, I have AIDS. And then Peter just cracks up laughing. It's not a great reference. The other reference is somehow Stewie and Brian become radio DJs.
Okay, it's not hard. We've got a podcast.
They have these. It's one of those stupid, like in Family Guy. It's Weenie in the Butt. Weenie in the Butt. 97.5. Weenie, and they make and he's doing the clicking like sound effects.
It's like those the two guys in Parks and Rec.
Yeah, it's like flush, toilet flush, and then Stewie presses a button, and it's Denzel Washington going, because they fired Andrew Beckett because he has AIDS, they broke the law. And then Brian was like, what the hell was that? He's like, I don't know, I pressed a button and that was from Philadelphia.
Okay.
Oh, so that's a very big impact.
Yeah, right.
Impact, I want to give it a 4.
I'm going to give it a 3.5 because it is one of the first and one of the very big and very mainstream addresses of HIV/AIDS and gay prejudice. Because this is like,
I will give it a 3.5.
12 years. It's 12 years before we get Stonewall. So we had to wait 12 years for that one. Director of worst gay film of all time, Tyson, not this summer.
Yes,
Even if I get to like Roger Ebert level of movie reviewer, if I'm a member of the Academy, do you think I have the power to strike Stonewall from the record?
No, you don't.
If I'm a member of
strike anything from the record.
If I'm a member of the Academy, do you think I can remove Stonewall from the Library of Congress bullshit, put every movie in for significance?
Stonewall, I've recorded. This is being recorded in audio and visual. I'm on the record. Stonewall, the movie, will never be submitted into the Library of Congress or being significantly historical or whatever the fuck they say.
Do you know the historical significance? Worst gay film of all time.
Worst gay film of all time. There's the good and bad Library of Congress.
Yeah.
So every time they put in a good movie,
is in there.
They put in a good gay movie. They put in Philadelphia. They put in Stonewall. So we're saying
they put in Philadelphia. They put in Stonewall. They put in Plan 9 from Outer Space. They put in Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Okay. They put in Shakespeare in Love. They put in something good. I don't know.
Queen Elizabeth. Was Elizabeth that year?
It was that year. We don't talk about that. Don't mention the war. Because of Kate should have won instead of Gwyneth. Anyway, moving on.
Imagine, after this is after our Oscars review and preview.
Maybe she would have won her third Oscar by now.
Yeah, I can't, like you've said, and you will have said in our Oscars episode, that people are saying Tar is her best performance ever.
Yeah.
And she's already won 2 Oscars and should have won a third.
Yeah.
Saw a meme before.
Oh, great.
And it was Steve Martin at the Oscars saying Meryl Streep holds the record for the most nominations ever, or, as I like to think of it, the most losses ever.
Yeah. There is that quiz website called Sporkle.
Oh, yeah,
this
love it.
This is not a plug, but there's a lot of Oscars.
But if Sporkle wants to sponsor us, we'll take the money.
I will. I could be we could be one of those ads that annoyingly pops up on your website. Well, no, they're not going to sponsor us now.
Let me tell you about Sporkle.
They have a lot of Oscar quizzes.
Yes.
And one of them is, I beat Meryl Streep. And it's got like the year and then like, it's whatever the movie was like. Meryl played a lesbian dying of radiation poisoning. But hey, wasn't I so great with
Devil
Shakespeare?
Wears Prada.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
It was like, but wow, wasn't I so great in that movie about Shakespeare? It was like really taking the piss. Anywho.
Speaking of Shakespeare, Mum and I recently went to Shakespeare in the Park to see Much Ado About Nothing.
Oh, yeah. And
I'm like, I studied this. I'm sure I studied this. In year 10, I studied Much Ado About Nothing. And the movie
Keanu
version...
Reeves movie.
Yeah. The movie version with Kenneth Branagh.
Oh, okay.
Right? Kenneth Branagh made heaps of...
Yeah.
Right? But he did really well, I think, Kenneth Branagh, at casting so people could watch it.
Yeah, like Billy Crystal.
So, Much Ado About Nothing is Kenneth Branagh and Emma Thompson.
Good.
And I've got to watch it again because they're hilarious.
Are they married?
Yes. It's a comedy, and those two are just banter non-stop at each other, Beatrix and Benedict. And so Kenneth Branagh and Emma Thompson, I remember, are great. But then it's like, it's Denzel Washington and it's Keanu Reeves.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, wow, Keanu Reeves has done Shakespeare.
Is there anything he can't do?
He's done John Wick.
He's done that.
He's done The Matrix. Bill and Ted.
and Shakespeare.
And
The Lake House.
The Lake House and Bram Stoker's Dracula.
There you go. Jesus.
With Winona Ryder, that we talked about recently in
Winona.
Buy Me a Coffee episode on Beetlejuice. Ooh. Don't make me say it. Family Guy reference. What are we up to?
We are into rewatchability, of which we haven't written nothing in our notes.
If I want to cry...
It's a hard movie to watch.
I feel like if I watched it again without notes, I'd cry more.
Yeah, because you'd be paying more attention. I feel that it's a hard watch that I wouldn't be like, oh, I feel like watching a movie. Philadelphia.
Can I move
There's about 18 Tom Hanks movies I'd watch before this for a good time.
Can I move that bit I said before about Brokeback Mountain and Pursuit of Happiness here? Because me having that tangent relates better to rewatchability than something else.
Edit.
I'm not going to do it, but remember, listeners, that I said that about
previously
25
on Two Drinks
ago. It's
hard to watch.
It's hard to watch. Like Pursuit of Happiness and like Brokeback Mountain and like Holding the Man. It's hard to watch. It's quality enough that I want to rewatch it.
Yes.
But it's heartbreaking enough that I don't.
Yeah. Because it's not, as much as it's a very well-made movie, it's not particularly enjoyable.
No.
Because there is those, BuzzFeed quizzes or what, it's like...
Which Tom Hanks character are you?
No, but not BuzzFeed quizzes then. The articles are just like, we asked people what movies are great that they'd recommend to watch only once. One of those movies.
Maybe we should come up with that list as well as worst line in a good movie.
Yeah. Watch only once.
Although I have watched Brokeback Mountain twice.
I've watched it a couple of times.
We went to...
You're going to watch it a third eventually.
Yeah, I know. We went to the Sun Theatre. Not a plug, but if they want to sponsor us, we'll take their money.
God. Free movies.
We went to the Sun Theatre to see it, but Shane and I got tickets late. It was like first week it came out.
Yeah.
And the 2 tickets were like the front row.
Like
So
where
we
we
were
watched
like...
Slumdog Millionaire?
Yeah, we were like that scene in Seinfeld where Elaine moves to the front row to avoid someone. So she sits and she's like that. And we're like, we can't watch this. So we went out and we went to the box office and said, can we have for the next session? So we went and had dinner and then came back. And we were in the queue to go in. And then Shane's friend from high school came out and she had been bawling her eyes out. And she's like, oh no. I just said to my husband, I said, oh, I hope I don't see anyone that I know because I look like shit. Because she had been bawling her eyes out and she hadn't seen either of us in like 10 years.
Yeah.
And so I'm like,
How are things?
She's like, oh my God. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to cry. So we went and watched it. I cried. And then I went to see it with Mum.
Oh, why
at the Astor.
Why did you do that?
I cried again. But Pursuit of Happiness, we went to see it.
Because did Mum go, oh, like she did to me when I saw a movie with her and I cried?
She went, we went to High Point to see Pursuit of Happiness.
Yeah.
And I literally cried the whole way home. Like, I live 20 minutes from High Point.
Oh, gosh.
And I cried.
So, and then did you get home and you're like, oh, I'm fine now?
No, I cried myself to sleep. I started crying when Will Smith locks the toilet door and the people are bashing the toilet door down and he's cuddling Jaden.
Oh, wait, no, that was different. Yeah.
When he's cuddling Jaden in the train station toilets and they're trying to sleep because they're homeless. That's when I started crying.
Okay.
And I cried myself to sleep. That's why I cry is on the Archie Q De Niro scale.
Because he cries.
I am a crier.
I won't generally ugly cry during a movie, right?
Yeah.
I will just be like, oh, welling of the eyes, a little bit of tear. The first movie I watched in a cinema that I cried at was The Imitation Game. Oh. Because at the end it was like...
Oh, that's on our list.
They drugged all these chemically crossed it. And I was like, oh. And then Mum was there. She was like, oh, are you okay? And we were like, let's just sit and watch the credits for a bit.
Yep.
And then the ugliest cry I've ever done in watching a movie or a TV show is The Holding the Man. And if anybody ever just wants to watch 5 hours of TV and cry, watch It's a Sin. Done.
Oh, yeah, I've been avoiding that.
There is one episode in that it's like at the end, just like whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. I'm like,
you know what the memes told me? The Last of Us episode 3.
Apparently so.
Yeah.
So I have to watch that now because memes told me
Memes told me too.
Anyway, the rewatchability of Philadelphia, I will give a...
You know, I didn't even cry at my own wedding.
Did I cry at your wedding?
I cried at the middle...
No.
I cried at the Middle Brothers wedding.
At one point, you were like, you were like, I'm going to look at Brett to see if he's crying. I'm like, don't fucking look at me.
I cried at the Middle Brothers wedding.
I did, I think. Yeah, there's photographic evidence.
But I didn't cry at my own. Because really, not to,
I don't cry at weddings.
Not diminish the value of my wedding, right?
Funerals cry. Because you're a happy crier, I'm a sad crier.
I'm a sympathetic crier.
Okay.
You know,
I'm an empathetic crier. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Sympathetic vomiters, like when someone vomits, you vomit.
Right.
I'm a sympathetic crier. I got all the way through Grandpa's service.
Yeah.
And then when we were singing that last thing and Dean lost it, I was gone.
Because Dean lost it because I lost it.
Yeah, well, maybe we're a family of sympathetic criers. So let's not watch Holding the Man together because we'll be 25 minutes of
Because we'll
tears.
have to watch it. Pause. I can't see the screen.
Rehydrate.
Because I was like the whole time, Grandpa, and then he passed away. I was like, I am not sad. I was sad, but I hadn't cried. And then our auntie is like, it's okay if you cry. I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like crying right now.
Yeah.
But then we sat down at the service and then photos started playing. I was like, oh, fuck, this is real. And then I cried. And then I did, speechy speech. And then when Dad speaks, I'm like, oh, cry. And then we got up at the end and we were singing and it got to the last 2 bars of the song. It was like, and then gone.
Our auntie's funeral, I didn't cry until our uncle spoke.
Yeah.
And when he cried, I was like,
we were talking.
if fucking
we have
uncle's
gone very off topic.
Uncle's crying, then I'm done
Yeah,
for.
he never cries. And then we were talking this, and we were talking about family funerals.
Yeah,
and he was like,
"Why not? That's a common Christmas lunch conversation."
And he was like, "I don't think I was at Frossy's funeral." I'm like, "Yeah, Craig, you were. I was there.
You delivered
did a
the
speech
eulogy,
and you cried." He's like, "Where was it?" I'm like, Sunbury or Tarragon. Sunbury.
I can't remember. Sunbury, yeah.
And I was like, he's like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah." And then such and such showed up. Blah blah.
Because
blah.
our family friend was the celebrant.
Yes.
Yeah, which was random.
Yeah.
Not even through us.
That's got nothing to do with the rewatchability of Philadelphia, but I'm going to give the rewatchability of Philadelphia.
Time check.
I'm going to give it a 2.
I'm also going to give it a 2. Thanks for joining us on this little tangential journey.
Can you tell this is not the first episode we've recorded tonight? Look, overall, Jesus Christ.
So hang on. Overall, the last half an hour's rushed.
It is.
Because it's like trial. 5 words in the jury room.
Yep.
And I'm like,
verdict.
The judge didn't even send them to deliberate. And then verdict.
Think if I was a law student studying this film,
yes,
I don't think that the prosecution did enough to prove that he was fired because he had AIDS. Legally speaking, they didn't give enough evidence to support their argument.
It was total pity case on Denzel's.
It was,
side.
I can see lesions on his body. That's it.
It was pity. It was all pity.
The one was like, I knew he had, I wish I spoke it to him about it earlier, and I wish I'm going to regret that. Then that was it.
Yeah.
Emotional.
Yeah.
Toward $5 million.
A lot of money. Antonio Banderas is going to be able to buy green cards for all of his family. Because even though Antonio Banderas is Spanish, you assume he's a Mexican kind of immigrant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's so many just like... The opening is good. With Bruce Springsteen and his song and the streets of Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah. It was very good at showing the...
Streets of
breadth of class and socioeconomicness of Philadelphia. Like the first bit of the opening is like, Philadelphia is lovely, and then it's like, oh, homeless man.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very good, like we've said. I found it tough to watch Mary Steenburgen be a bitch. And now that you've told me that she had a friend die not long before the filming, I just want to tweet her and tell her she's done a great job.
Yeah, well done, Mary Steenburgen.
No, Mary Steenburgen's one of those actresses that I feel like I could know. I feel like
just a normal person.
I could tweet her and be like, Mary, you did a great job in Philadelphia.
And she'd go back.
And send her a little
tough, but thank you.
And then send her a little hug emoji.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist, the hug emoji.
No, it's
a little
like
gif.
Isn't it like the person hugging themselves? Or is there a person like with their arms
That's the Wakanda Forever.
I don't know.
No, I want to send her that little gif of the little ghost, and it says sending virtual hug.
I'm not the little hands up with the lines on
which
it.
Wasn't a number, which wasn't around in 1993.
No, gifs weren't.
Because I do like her as Clara Clayton.
In 1993, you had to draw on a notepad and...
For any
and fan it back.
For any kids listening on the socials, I'm going to find a little...
Thank you. That's much better than...
What a GIF was in 1993.
That was a millennial GIF.
Yeah, that was true.
A millennial GIF. That sounds like a good name for a band.
I listened
You're welcome.
I listened to a podcast recently, and the guy was like, I've got off a smartphone. I'm on an old flip phone.
Oh, gosh.
And he was talking about texting by pressing, 2-3 times, then pressing 5 twice, which kids won't get. And then he gave a dumb phone to his 2 co-hosts. And they're like, oh, this is nostalgic. He's like, I'm going to put a Slipknot sticker on the back of mine, and then one of them was like, I'm going to draw that thing. You know that thing? It's like 3 lines, and then it's 3 lines, and then you join it, the S. Nostalgia.
Great.
Overall, for Philadelphia, I think the courtroom there were issues, but I think it's set up well that in terms of a social drama and the movie making a social comment, Denzel Washington's side of things is not just fighting Tom Hanks's case. The whole thing is this is how prejudiced society is, and this is how prejudice comes up, and this is how prejudice affects people. Whereas the other side was trying to tap into people's innate prejudice in order to win their case. That's what Steenburgen was doing.
Yeah. I will say, on a more lighthearted note, it was hard to take the judge seriously.
Yeah.
Johnson, pack my overnight bag, and Johnson, feed my fish. Austin Powers.
He didn't have much in the movie though, and he flip-flopped a bit.
Answer the question. Oh, I thought at the start it's like, oh, he is homophobic.
He flip-flopped a bit, didn't he?
But then he was like,
at one point
I
he
need
was
to
like,
be all like...
Yeah, at one point he was like kind of on the prejudice side. But then he was like, no, Denzel, you finish. But then he was like, Denzel, stop saying the F word.
But then maybe it was the whole thing where he was like, in this courtroom, there's no race, blah, 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 sexual orientation. He's like, we don't live in this courtroom. He's like, oh, right, I should probably do my job and be unbiased and judge.
Yeah.
I will say, Jason Robards is good at playing an asshole.
Which one's he?
The top
lawyer
boss
at the firm. Yeah.
But also
he was good. Yes,
there's a lot of actors in it that have won Oscars.
Really?
I was thinking this right. Joanne Woodward plays the mum.
Yes,
his mum.
She's good.
Tom Hanks has got a couple.
Yes.
Denzel Washington's got a couple.
Tom Hanks's cinematic mums, have good awards.
Sally Field, Joanne Woodward.
I saw recently, 80 for Brady, which is a movie we're going to review shortly.
Oh, can't wait.
Panel interview of Sally Field, Jane Fonda, Lily Tomlin, and Rita Moreno.
Yeah.
One of them's an EGOT.
Rita Moreno, yeah.
Yeah. She, and one of them's one short. Jane Fonda's one doesn't have a Grammy.
Doesn't have a Grammy, and Lily Tomlin doesn't have an Oscar.
Yeah, right. Because Lily Tomlin was like, oh, I have EGT.
Yeah.
And she's like, all right, I'm 86. We've got come on, girls, we've got to do it now because I'm running out of time.
She'll get a sympathy,
She'll get a lifetime achievement.
Lifetime achievement.
But does that count? Does that make you an EGOT?
It doesn't make you an EGOT. It should be competitive.
Yeah. So Tom Hanks's screen mums are well awarded.
Joanne Woodward and Sally Field.
He's had more than that.
I can't think of any off the top of my head. We'll look him up.
Who is his mum in Big?
Brenda Fricker. I forgot what I was saying. So yeah, Jason Robards has got two.
Yes.
Mary Steenburgen's got one. Can't remember what for. She's got one.
Obviously for Back to the Future 3.
Yeah, obviously. Jason Robards has one.
You said him.
2. Jonathan Demme has one.
Yep. Yes.
The guy, Howard Shaw, wrote the thing.
Denzel.
Music. Denzel. Bruce Springsteen. There you go.
Has an Oscar.
Yeah, for this.
I'm going to rant in our Oscars preview episode about Best Original Song. I'm not going to do it now because this episode's already long.
Yeah.
But I've got a couple of things to say about Best Original Song now. Overall...
Is it the Gaga one's not that good? Overall, it's a great movie.
It's surely a credits song can't count.
Well, I didn't think it did back in the day.
It's got to be part of the story.
Well...
Like, Take My Breath Away.
That's what I thought. But they like to change their rules every now and then.
Because
at one point,
Wakanda Forever is all orchestral score, and then they put a song over the credits. It's nominated for Best Original Song.
At one point, Beyonce couldn't get a nomination. She didn't get included in the nomination for Best Original Song for Dreamgirls because it was like, oh, you have to show that you significantly contributed to the blah, and 3 people were already on the song as songwriter or lyrics or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But then it's like one song one year. I think it was the one from...
We said we weren't going to rant about it.
There was one song, was it with The Weeknd? That was from Was that from the first Black Panther?
Yeah.
And there was like 8 people.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
We got to get in on the Academy so we can sort this fucking shit out.
Anywho, I will give this movie. Oh, this is hard. A 4.5.
3.75 for me.
Ooh.
I thought it was very well made. It's very well acted. It's very well written. The story is very good and it's very emotive. But the slow zooms took away from it for me. And some of the scoring.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah?
Yep. Okay, that's fair enough.
So there are a couple of points I was like, we don't need to slow zoom in on him again. Calm down. All right, we're going to take a break. And then we're going to rip through some Google reviews because this has been a long episode. Thank you for sticking with us. We've had a lot to say. We'll be back very shortly.
2 Drink Cinema!
All right, we're back with some Google reviews. Good to go? What's the score for Philadelphia on the Archie Q De Niro score?
On the Archie Q De Niro score, I will say that nostalgia has let this one down, and it got a score of 51.
That's not bad. Anything over a 50 is a very good movie on the Archie.
So it's bang in between Juno and Muriel's Wedding. So it's in the top 10.
Okay.
There you go.
I think that's a set of 3 movies that the queers would be happy with. Juno,
Muriel's Wedding,
and Philadelphia.
All right.
Because it's ABBA.
ABBA.
Because you've got a queer person in Elliot Page, you've got a queer story in Philadelphia, and you've got ABBA.
And they're gay. Yep.
It's a win. All right, let's do some Google reviews. Do you want... So those 4 are yours. This is yours too?
Yep.
Okay, go.
5 stars. A trial case has never been more about do or die before. A closeted lawyer learns that he has conducted AIDS and his firm unjustly fires him. He turns to a heterosexual lawyer for his defense, who has a mild prejudice against lesbians. Soon, the two become closer as they try to sue the firm before his sickness catches up to him and no justice is served. While the AIDS crisis has passed, tensions between the 2 gender communities are still prevalent. This film is a major stepping stone in a different direction that still resonates years later. A mild prejudice against lesbians.
So he's conducted AIDS.
He's conducted AIDS.
Like
Symphony.
Kate Blanchett in Tar.
Oh, gosh.
Lesbians.
All
right. I've got a 1 star.
Okay.
Amaria. I watched it now, May 2020, and it made me feel very sad. Great acting, Denzel W. and Tom as well.
That was a 1 star.
That's a 1 star review.
It made him feel sad.
Actually, that's a 3 star.
Oh.
On Google reviews, no 1s, no 2s.
Oh, wow.
So what I've done is I've taken 2 3 stars from Google, and then I've taken 1 star from IMDb.
Right.
Okay?
Cool.
Give us a 5 star.
This film extremely dated, sad, a strange era, expressing views and realities of an earlier period about AIDS, all unthought of today. Fucking hell. Film shows an emotional, almost hysterical view of homosexuality and gays, irrelevant 30 years later, a period piece. Fine acting, another world, attitudes have thankfully changed for the better. Actually, this film is hard to believe. Tom Hanks, a fine actor.
Okay, Barbara, you fucking head in
Wake
the sand.
the fuck up, Barbara.
You are a fucking head in the sand. All right, this is another 3 star from Google.
Yeah.
From Aiden.
Cool.
Yep, I'm watching it in law class right now, and it's a little boring, but it's a good movie. Understandably so. The characters in the movie are played by actors, which wouldn't happen in real life. This is someone trying to be funny. All right, but I left it in because I think it actually is. The characters in the movie are played by actors, which wouldn't happen in real life. This makes the movie for me less believable because in real life, characters are played by normal people instead of actors. For example, I am played by a normal person.
Jesus.
The actors did a good job at pretending to be people, but I could tell their hearts weren't in their performance. Also, in real life, there's no camera recording us, except in Soviet Union and Britain.
Oh my god!
But the movie takes place in the US of America. I haven't finished the movie yet, but the main character has HIV/AIDS. Anyway, overall, I would give it a 3 stars so far.
Oh.
I had to edit a little very offensive bit out of that one.
When did he
My
watch
favourite
this?
bit is...
Soviet Union?
Also, in real life, there's no camera recording us, except in Soviet Union and Britain.
But the movie takes place in the US of America.
Yep.
Oh.
So I had to edit that little bit out.
Yes, you did.
Yes.
5-star.
Okay. Go.
Hard to believe 29 years have passed since the release of the movie Philadelphia. Excellent cast of actors and actresses, combined with a poignant story that unfortunately contains an accurate reflection of prejudice and homophobia that still exists 3 decades later, makes the film worthwhile to watch on multiple occasions. I don't know why multiple occasions. It sounds like, I'll watch it at Christmas, I'll watch it at Easter.
Here's a 1 star from the IMDb. Headline: Garbage, the bad kind of garbage.
Oh, not the good kind of garbage.
Oh, and then IMDb says warning spoilers. You've made it an hour and a half into our episode. There's spoilers. There are good kinds of garbage, e.g. Gigli, that are so bad that they actually become watchable. But Philadelphia is the kind of garbage that is so bad in a bad way. The movie just takes itself so seriously, it's simply laughable. The director likely believes that the film is a humanitarian message.
Yeah.
Let's get this out of the way. Tom Hanks, Denzel Washington gave great performances, especially Denzel. Now to the movie. The movie is so overly indulged in emotion and musical cues that it becomes so embarrassingly sappy and unwatchable. I take solace in knowing that there are other innocent people who were abused by such cringe-inducing scenes like the opera scene, which counts as one of the most hideous abuses of director's privilege ever. The movie is literally stuffed with rubbish like that. The music, the bosses turning their heads away, the look on Hank's face, wow. That's the lesion scene I edited. The director is begging for us to cry. Oh, I did feel like crying, but for a completely different reason. The only reason I felt content giving this movie 1 star, as opposed to the much sought after 0 stars, which exists in review titles only, is because of Denzel's performance. Avoid this piece of feces at all costs.
Oh, God, feces.
Really?
Jeez.
That's harsh.
Oh,
That's harsh. I edited that down from a lot of other shit.
I will say this. This is a 5-star review.
Okay,
right?
Henry.
Pretty simple. I just don't like the way Mary smiles too much. Great movie.
I think that's a major point of Mary Steenburgen's character, is the smiling.
She smiles too much.
Too much. All right, well, there you go. That's Philadelphia for everybody out there. Done and dusted. If you want to let us know what you think, then the link to give your score is in the episode description. We have a movie for next week for our Australian film. I like this film. I'm going to give you a vague description as the trivia.
Sure.
Okay. I like this film. It's set in the outback. Mm-hmm. It was released in 2010.
No. Okay.
And it has a lot of Aboriginal actors in it.
Okay.
Is that vague enough for you?
That's pretty vague.
I remember that I like the film.
Yep.
And it's got a lot of Aboriginal actors in it.
Okay.
It's got songs in it. It's got Uni Dingo.
So it's musical.
And his fridge.
Dingo.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
So if you reckon you know what that is based on those
well done
keywords that will be on hashtag Trivia Tuesday on our Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, then let us know. See if you can guess what the movie is. I'll put the date and I'll put those vague keywords.
Australian outback singing.
2010 Australian Aboriginals singing. Okay? Good luck.
Yes.
Thank you, Brett.
Thanks, Lee. Thanks for listening to this episode of 2 Drink Cinema. Make sure you've subscribed so you don't miss any future episodes.
Please share this episode with a friend and leave a rating and review. It goes a long way to help us reach a bigger audience.
This show is produced by Two Brothers Entertainment on the lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, and we pay our respects and acknowledge their elders past, present and emerging.
Follow us on all your social platforms and join our Facebook group to connect with us. Thanks for listening, happy watching, and please drink responsibly.